Did you know there was a Futurama game? This came as a surprise to me. I knew there was a Family Guy one and a Simpsons game, of course, but not a Futurama one, and Futurama is goated. Even stranger, this game is pretty rare it seems. Like, look at its price on eBay or your favorite game reseller. I'll wait. Yeah, crazy, right? That's like Rule of Rose money. Well, with the show coming back and all, I thought this was the perfect time to check this game out and show it off to all 100, if I'm lucky, of you. And so I did. I played through the whole game and you know what? It's not too bad. I expected worse and I got a decent game. With that said, the cutscenes absolutely carry this game and turns it into something worth checking out, kind of. Yeah, I'll explain later, I promise. So let's take a look. Oh wait, before we start, I'd love it if you leave a like on the video if you enjoyed the video. And hey, subscribe if you want to see more of our content because we make pretty good stuff. Alright, now let's take a look at this weirdly unknown Futurama game. Usually when I talk about games, I tend to mention the story first because that's the easiest and story details have a short half-life in my brain, but this time I'm switching it up. The story's going to be last because that is by far the most interesting and memorable part of the game, which does make it sound like I'm about to dunk on this game hard, and maybe I will a little, but it's fine. So let's start with the gameplay first. I'll be honest, I'm kind of disappointed that this game isn't more like the tutorial. For the tutorial, you're doing a collectathon. You have to find all the professor's tools scattered around the Planet Express building and it's pretty nice. You get to explore the building and see some fun little references and gags, which is always fun. There's some light platforming and it's a pretty relaxed, carefree experience. I'm not saying the whole game had to be like this, but it would have been nice if it was sprinkled throughout the game here and there. Once you finish the tutorial, you get to play as Fry, Bender, Leela, and a little bit of Zoidberg because that's what he deserves. All the characters minus Zoidberg are kind of similar, but their focus is different, if that makes sense. Bender's levels are focused on platforming, which is pretty dubious if you ask me. Look, it's not the best platforming I've ever played. This isn't Celeste or Super Meat Boy or your favorite platformer that I don't like. We talked about this, man. You gotta stop talking about platformers around me. It feels like a budget PS2 game, which I'm pretty sure the game was anyway. I never felt confident when I was making a jump because you fall like a rock and I'm pretty bad at gauging distances. It made the factory level terrifying because it required a lot of good jumps and tightrope walking. I did end up liking Bender's sections though because you don't really have to fight enemies. Short of a couple of places, you can run past enemies and not worry about a thing. They're pretty slow and don't even follow you that far. When he does have to fight, it's not that bad because he has a special move and that is the perfect time to do it. He also gets an abnormal amount of health drops, so usually when I die, it's because I was falling into the abyss, like an idiot. Leela's sections are the worst and almost made me drop the game. She has a heavy focus on combat and a surprising amount of puzzles. Now that I think about it, I feel like her sections had the most puzzles, which is weird to think about because when I was playing I was so focused on how mad the combat made me. Her combat is hand to hand because that's how she is in the show. Sure, I get it, but it didn't have to make it so bad. She has punches and kicks and you can combo them together. There's jump attacks and a running attack, but I don't find myself using them too much, and that part honestly doesn't feel too bad. They flow well, and the only real problem I have with it is that she stops in her tracks and it sometimes puts me on a range of attacks, which is sometimes annoying. She also has a dodge roll, but I barely use it because it doesn't work. Maybe I'm bad, but I didn't notice any iframes, and I still take damage even if I seem to do it perfectly. She does have a special move too, like Bender, but I keep forgetting to use it and I wish that it would one-shot enemies. It does give iframes though, so it is a better dodge than the dodge, funny enough. One of the problems with the combat is that there isn't a lot of hit stun. The attacks lack any real weight and they retaliate without me noticing. It's super stressful fighting enemies and I just keep praying for the next checkpoint. But the real problem I have with Leela's levels is that she is ill-equipped to deal with her enemies. Most of them are okay. The dodge roll not working well makes some of them kind of annoying, but this SOB right here ruins my day. He runs at you and explodes and I don't really know how to deal with it. I have no range moves, he's faster than me and he loves to sneak attack me. Sometimes I literally don't react to it fast enough and it's BS. At least a similar enemy in Serious Sam gives you a warning well in advance and I thank them for that. And to top off this shit Sunday, the explosion does like half her health. The health drops aren't as plentiful as Bender's section and again I'm just praying for the next checkpoint. I wanted to drop the game here and I'm not joking. Fry's levels are more of a mixture of Leela's and Bender's parts, which makes more sense seeing as he's the first set of levels you do. It gives you a taste of what's to come and also happens to be the best part of the game. Sure, he has a lot of combat and a lot of annoying enemies, but you know what he has that Leela doesn't? A gun. Scratch that. Guns. His guns even have charge attacks that can usually one-shot the enemies, which is great. He also has a hammer, but I literally never use it unless it was to open a box to save ammo. His enemies also have guns and fire back, and although I did get killed a lot because I would get clipped a bunch, it wasn't that frustrating, except for the exploding enemy that would once again sneak up on you and take so much health. I truly don't know what they were thinking when they added these demon spawns. And like I said earlier, Zoidberg does have a section in the game, an extremely minuscule part of the game, but still a part. It's like 5 minutes though, so maybe a bit piece here or something. This section is a super frustrating auto runner with some absolute crock shit obstacles and Zoidberg fighting to get your controls. The whole segment is trial and error because there is no way people were able to get past certain jumps and obstacles on the first try. You do have to finish his levels in a certain amount of time, and it almost caught me off guard at first because I didn't realize dying does not reset the timer. But the timer is pretty generous, so unless you're dying a lot, it's not really a problem. And yeah, that's about it for this section. Level design on the other hand is pretty decent. Once again, Fry has the best levels in my opinion. I don't know, I like the griminess of New York and Old New York, and it's cool to run around in it. I will say though that I like the variety of the different characters' levels. Look at each of them, they're so different from each other, and if you took the characters out of the videos, I can still easily tell who you're playing as. If that isn't a testament to how unique the designs of the levels are, I don't know what is. But with that said, some of the individual levels feel redundant, design-wise with others. The way I see it, it feels like they had longer levels and split it up so that they would have places to save because mom said it's past my bedtime and if I get in trouble because the exploding bastards keep killing me, I will commit a crime. I keep circling back to it, but man, I would prefer if these were bigger open levels and the game was more of a collectathon. I don't know, I'm not a game designer, but it sounds good to me. Alright, so let's talk about the story a little bit. Well, not the full thing because I don't want to spoil it if you're a fan of Futurama and haven't seen the story of the game yet. The inciting incident is that the professor sells Planet Express to mom because Planet Express doesn't really make any money. Sure, that's fine, I would do the same thing. But you see, mom acquiring this property is the final property she needs to be the majority owner of Earth, leading to her dictatorship as supreme ruler. With this newfound power, mom wants to turn Earth into a warship that will probably conquer the galaxy. Seeing this, the Planet Express gang decides to do something about this, so they repair their ship and get the hell out of Dodge. Unfortunately for them, they brought along the professor and mom kinda needs him since he's the only one who could make her an engine big enough to fuel Earth. But couldn't they get Professor Wernstrom? He might have been able to at least try. I get it though, might as well get the one you know can do it before he gets too far away from you. And that's basically the trajectory of the story. If this was just a regular episode of the show, I wouldn't have noticed. The game had the original voice actors, music from a composer on the show, and a writer that has worked with Matt Groening. Groening? Honestly, they probably approached it as if they were writing it as an episode, but with some added video game references. The only thing is Hermes and Amy's voice actors aren't in the game for budget reasons, but it's not like everyone was in every episode, so I'll treat it like that. What is weird though is that Amy is nowhere to be found. Like, Hermes is here and a little, busy, but where's Amy? I assume Mars, but still. Anyway, I really enjoyed the story. Just about all the jokes land, and it might just be because I wasn't expecting it. And an interesting tidbit, the creators must have agreed with me because they cut up the cutscenes for the game and dubbed it the Lost episode, putting it as a feature in The Beast with a Billion Backs. Even more interesting, the developers that made the game had shut down before the movie was even close to a thing, so they had to record all the footage from an Xbox console, which is pretty funny to think about. I could just imagine them suffering through the game to get the footage. Or maybe they used a cheat code, which is kinda lame. Also, they added some different sound effects or removed any references to the cutscenes being part of a game. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on what you took from this video, this means that there's almost no reason to play this game. You can just watch this very good video and watch the cutscenes on YouTube, but I'm not your mom, or mom for that matter. Well, that's the video. The game was alright, nothing to write home about if you take out the cutscenes, which go pretty hard. If you like the video, and subscribe if you want to see more from us. The goal is to have a video out every week, so yeah. Also comment below what other weird old games I should look at. I read all the comments. Yes, even yours. Oh, and if you want to support us a little more, we have a Patreon and you should definitely check that out if you want. And before you go trying to reanimate your dog, have a good day. And an even gooder day to our patrons. The 20th Century Boy, Mr. Steezy, Dusty, Kira, Cozy K, and Jake the Ape.